So just how good is the food in the SEC's cafeteria? Today on Zippy Point.
Quick Zips by Zippy Point.
Quick and dirty. I'm Brock Romanak and I'm a big fan of yous. So that was a trick question. The SEC has over 3,000 staffers working out of its headquarters in Washington, D.C., yet it does not have a cafeteria. Where do those people eat lunch? For some reason, I feel like it's a stereotype for a federal agency. Must have a cafeteria. I have no idea where I got that notion, but it's just stuck up here in the noggin. Yet the current headquarters for the SEC doesn't have one down on 100 F Street, nor did the headquarters when I worked there in the mid-90s and late 80s on 405th Street. It didn't have a cafeteria either. So what did people do for lunch? Well, when I worked there, most people brought their lunch. There were two eating opportunities within the building. One was a Roy Rogers, a lovely fast food chain here on the East Coast that has long been deceased. And I remember the day that it became a McDonald's. I was working in the office of chief counsel, and I came in the morning to work and heard that Brian Lane, the corp fin director, had been asked by the SEC chair, Arthur Levitt, to represent the SEC at an opening ceremony since the SEC was a primary tenant in the building. So I had 1 hour to put my plan into operation. I ran to the pharmacy to buy a disposable camera. This is before cell phones, and because I wanted to take a picture of the ceremony. Marion Barry was there. He was a councilman who had made his comeback in D.C. politics after his arrest and 6 months in jail for drug possession. The head of the D.C. Council was there, as well as the head of McDonald's regional office, and for some reason, the head of the D.C. libraries, and Brian Lane. So it was a simple ceremony as each of those luminaries just said a few minutes of commentary, a few words, and then the crowd that was there was no more than a dozen and a half. It was super strange. There was no free food. It was just a weird time, and I loved every minute of it. So the other food place in that building was sort of a deli. It was good for breakfast. You know, had sausage and bagels that we got on occasion, but the sandwiches were completely tasteless. Then outside of the SEC, there was almost nothing. My best friend Mark and I would eat out every single day. We did not bring our lunches. We met the very first day during orientation because he was in a wheelchair and I was on crutches, having just broken my leg, tib fib, a week before the bar exam. And then a month after the bar exam, everyone goes on vacation. I was living in my mom's house at the time, and she would take me out once a week for with a garden hose to bathe me down. So my mom saw me naked when I was 26. Anyways, Mark and I were the last out of the room, and as we broke for lunch during orientation, and we became fast friends. And Mark's eyes were just bigger than his stomach. One of the few places to eat around the building was one of those places where you paid for the food by the pound. So it was a buffet where you weighed your food at the cash register. And Mark and I had a running competition to keep our meal under a pound. And Mark had little discipline. I always brought it in under a pound, but he would wind up getting 2 pounds most days. Chinatown was only a few blocks away, and we would occasionally go up to Chinatown. My hat is off Dave Poland, the man who owned the local basketball and hockey teams, the Washington Bullets back then in the Washington Capitals, because he paid for an arena just a few blocks down from the SEC's headquarters and did not ask the city for a dime. That arena was built in the mid-90s and eventually really completely turned around that neighborhood. Today it's a bustling place with many, many choices to eat. So now the SEC has moved over to a building that's next to the city's grand old train station, Union Station, and there's a tunnel that connects the SEC's building to Union Station, and there are many places to eat. There was an eatery in the basement with 30, 40 different places to eat that was closed in recent years as Union Station underwent a tremendous renovation, and I don't think all those eatery places have reopened, but there's still other restaurants there. And now there's food trucks some days right down the street from the SEC's headquarters, and there's all kinds of other opportunities because the headquarters is embedded in Capitol Hill. As I wrap up, I do note that some federal agencies do indeed have cafeterias, and I'm sure they are all that. Apparently there was a website that's like Yelp that rated federal cafes called fedgrub.com, but that's now defunct. Anyways, let me know what you think. What have been your experiences in the federal agency cafeterias?